I don't mind. But it keeps going higher and higher. Just crazy. We did green, we did red. I think we're getting close to another color. Blue, maybe? Yellow? Green is a secondary color. You could go yellow or you could go blue. The cutscene. Blue, it looks like. We're due yellow here soon. Oh, I love that. It's like her hair. And now there's rain. Curious. I'm falling. Oh, we're going straight into another world here. Or at least we've added water back to the world. I see, so that won't work. Trying to figure out if we're returning the world to the way it was. You know, restoring natural balance in this game. Because we went from an all-white background, which was basically black and white. We added red, which was sort of like a fiery chain. It had wind in it as well, so it was sort of like sand and wind. Then we added green, which gave us a forest. And now blue, which has given us water. You know? So, I mean, we've restored, appears to be 3 or close to 3 of the 4 elements, you know? About the only thing we're missing at this point would be some version of either like a we'll say fire. We count the first section as like sort of a wind-swept plains, you know, and you're sort of fighting through the wind as it's kicking up the sandstorms. But the only thing, like I said, we're missing is the element of fire. You know, don't know if we'll have a fire stage or not, or if the first stage again, because it was sort of a desert, was supposed to be that fire portion of it. You know, wind has sort of been kind of like wind's always sort of an unseen element, obviously. You can feel it, you know it's there, but it's not really like something you can physically hold like water or earth, or, you know that you have fire in your hand, you know. You definitely can't deny this move set. I don't have some variation of like a wind already. The other thing that concerns me color-wise is, what do colors generally represent as they're used? You know, red tends to be passion, anger, you know, sort of the harsher versions of our emotion. And Earth is sort of a calm, if you will. You know, it's a, it's as things, in a way, it is as things should be. It is a stabilizing force, if you will. It's a force of course, life. Um, green's a very natural, quote unquote, natural color. Because it appears a lot in nature. Very common color, um, particularly in spring, summer. Whereas like an orange would be sort of a fading from life into barrenness. Just talking seasons right now. It's where white is the change from you know nothingness into something. You get the flowers and you get the yellows and the whites, and in the fall you get the oranges and the reds. Um, but like I said, it's and blue is sort of it's a calming color. It's a it's a like water, it flows. You know, but it can also be sort of the opposite of your red. Where your red is sort of an extreme emotion, anger. Anger or frustration. Blue tends to be the more calming end of that, where you're more subdued, but you're also, again, you're on the opposite side of anger. We're talking extreme opposites. You're now on the fatness, I guess, is blues. I'm feeling bluesy, where the phrase I believe comes from. You have that feeling. I'm red hot with anger. You know, but maybe they're going for both. I don't know. Water blue, earth green, orangey, red would be, like I said, fire or change. So I'm not supposed to be up here right now. Doesn't seem to be leading anywhere. If they say if path A doesn't work, try path B. Well, there's clearly a direction I can go. But it does not require me to be up here. Try a different way. See, we're being cut off by this branch, so I can't go that direction again. Or maybe there's a down. There's a turtle-looking thing. Can't dive right now, so... That'll work, though. I went underground. Yep, only one way to go. That water. And then nifty. I love when they do stuff like that. But you usually see that in like a, I want to say you see that in like a Mario game where they like to play with certain elements. Like, what if we put water blocks up here? Why? Because we wanted to put water blocks up here. Sort of make you think outside the box when you're platforming, you know? Up here too, look at this. Up, go short on that, need to double jump. See? Oh. Maybe I just do this. See? I remember seeing something similar. I believe it's something similar to this in Mario Galaxy played with this a little bit. Where they would add either blocks that reversed your polarization so that you'd be pulled, you know, instead of being pulled to the ground, you'd be pulled to the ceiling. Another reference, I guess, would be like Magnet Man and Mega Man 5. They have that, the ability to switch north and south, so you're either being pulled onto the ceiling or onto the ground. You sort of play around with that mechanic a little bit. This isn't as serious right now, as I do not have the ability to swim. And I seem to float when I try to. That's beautiful, isn't that? Blue, whitish tree growing out of what I assume is some sort of planter, stone planter, but could be very wrong. We may come back this way, we may loop up and around, or that just might be a setting piece, who knows. Look at the little guys, like little white bats. I sort of stunned or scared. Interesting. Kind of like water, but it's also got sort of a gelatinous feel to it. Because the water's too low for me to really get an idea of, you know, is this water? Is this, you know, what is this? Up around, I gotta go again. Can't go left anymore. Definitely one thing I've noticed about this game is once you've made progress, there is no backtracking. Like there are certain hard stop areas where, you know, if you haven't done something in this area, you're gonna have to forget about it because you're not coming back to it. Either, you know, a stone breaks behind you or you fall into a lower level that you can't, you know, or I guess even an upper area that they won't let you go down any farther. Creates sort of like a barrier saying, you go past here, you can't come back. You either can't go left, right, up, down, whatever the limiting factor is. So yeah, then me looking at that earlier area and going, well, maybe I can loop back around on that. You know, the farther we go, the less likely I'm going to loop back on an earlier area. We're going to use our walk. Oh, good. Not sure if that was required or not. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, this slide is basically cutting me off from going back now. The darkness. Not quite dark enough yet. We're going to use the momentum. We're going to go up though first. But I was going to say we're going to use the momentum to go down and around. Look for the gameplay mechanics that you're aware of. Like that. Down we go. Here's to be it. Down, down, down. Like there's a new power to unlock, but I don't have any of the little light bright guys. Probably one to the left, one to the right if I'm not mistaken. How far left, how far right, I don't know. Oh. That teach me a new mechanic here, clearly. I freeze briefly when it does that. If I'm mid-jump, it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to stay. Reminds me a little bit of a science thing. If you take a picture of yourself with a particular, I think it's a particular canvas and maybe camera, what you can do is you can freeze or imprint your shadow onto the back of a screen for a short period of time. Allows you to, you know, then sort of play with it, I guess. Guessing I'm not going to be able to stack these. This will be enough, though, to get up here, though. Like that. See? We did it. Isn't that nifty? And it kind of freezes me in place. It just creates sort of a frozen after image of my character without actually, like, without it being as permanent, I guess. You can see how I can't really stack these up because after that I'm basically done. I stack one on top of this and still reach it, but once I get to the third one I won't be able to reach it anymore. Because I'll fall, you know, as you can see, back to the ground. Nothing up here. That's one of two. Still need a second one though to unlock whatever power this is. I have a pretty good guess what it is. It's probably I'm gonna guess it's probably a swim since I'm running into water now. So I'm gonna say it's a little early for fly. I don't know if they're gonna give me a flying ability or not, more than I already have. So seems to close off the side here. So like when I press this one down, it'll open that hole briefly, but then close off once it's reached the bottom of the pendulum. Now it opened and now it's closed again. So I basically need to put one of these freeze blocks underneath the pot itself and then push it down so that it only goes halfway and I have access to the center there. My dream from a few nights ago is still creeping me out. You know, I don't like. I mean, I get it, but I don't. On the one hand, it is a dream. You know, in dreams you have stupid shit happen. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Occasionally I have a recurring dream that I am on See, I did it. That's what I wanted to do. I occasionally have a recurring dream that I'm on a local public transit called the T system or the trolley system. And the public transportation system in Pittsburgh is not very robust. It goes from, they have a single line that runs south of Pittsburgh into the center, downtown Pittsburgh, and then it goes over towards the two. Does it go past the third? It may go past the third one, but I was going to say it goes past the Pirates and Steelers Stadium. Yeah, I did unlock swimming. I expected that. Then after this, I can only imagine the last thing that we don't have access to yet is flying. So I'm not sure they'll actually give me a flying ability, you know, like free flying, like I'm free swimming right now. But I have this reoccurring dream that I'm on the trolley system trying to get home. So I'm on the T, the metro, and I'm trying to go south to go back towards my house. But I keep ending up on the wrong side of the train tracks, and I keep going north. Now, like I said before, Pittsburgh's got a very limited metro system. It's just like I said, it's more or less a singular line that goes from south to north and then circles back around and goes back towards the south again. There's not really a transfer to a different line per se. If you know the system, you'll know that I'm sort of telling a half-truth, because as you head south, there's a junction that splits off left and right. And if you take the right junction, it goes through a different set of towns, but it's sort of an offshoot that then comes back to the main line again. And then right as you get towards the end of the line, it'll split off again, and one will go towards one final destination, where I think all of the trolleys are stored, so I could be wrong. And the other one goes in an opposite direction, further south down the line, but it's not terribly far south. Like, you're not talking about like a whole nother line practically. It's just an extra, do you go left or you go right here? This one's going to end up in this area where there's a parking garage. If you go this way, it'll get you closer to maybe a more local area that you live by, like a township or borough that you live. So it makes more sense to stay on this lane than that one. But anyways, I have dreams that I'm riding and I keep going the wrong direction. And in some cases it hooks up to like a larger like Amtrak station, even though I know there's probably an Amtrak hub in Pittsburgh, but you know, the trolley system doesn't necessarily drop you off at the Amtrak station or at the Amtrak hub, and then you just go from one to the other. You can schedule a long-term plan where you're going to park your car here, ride the trolley into the town, hit the Amtrak station, get on the Amtrak, follow that out wherever, we'll say east or west. I know Amtrak goes everywhere, but we'll just say for the sake of argument, you know, I'm always going in the wrong direction. I'm always in my dreams, trying to correct that direction. So that's my brain probably trying to tell me something like, oh, hey, you know, you're nervous about the fact that, I don't know, you feel like you don't have full control over your life or something, you know. It's your brain trying to tell you something. But it's not a premonition, if you will, that I'm going to end up on the wrong train, going the wrong direction. And there's nothing I can do to ever correct it. I just keep making mistakes, you know. It's a silly, stupid dream that doesn't really mean much. I mean, it maybe have a, you know, psychological thing where you could easily look at it and go, Chris, clearly your subconscious is telling you that you feel like, you know, you're going in the wrong direction or that you don't have control over your life. You get lots of stuff you can read into there, but I think that's a common feeling for a lot of people. You know, either you work too much and you feel like, well, I never have any free time for myself, or you don't work enough, or you don't get paid well enough. There's see little red butterfly things. I need to hit that and then shoot myself the opposite direction. I keep missing for some reason. Anywho, I'm done talking about my dream and my dream interpretations. And just sort of the point I'm trying to get at is, you know, having a dream about it doesn't mean that it's going to come true.